it's your girl Stephanie. Welcome and welcome back to Quilting Beauty and Books, my corner of YouTube. I pray that you and your family are all doing well today and that you enjoyed today's video. As you can see by today's title, I'll be sharing with you the books that I read for the month of September. Unfortunately, one book had to be DNF'd, but the other ones I did quite enjoy. All of the reviews are out there on Goodreads, so go ahead and check them out. I really was surprised that I did enjoy these books because all of the authors, except my buddy Read with Nay, I think they were all new to me. So I am really excited about diving into new authors and stuff like that. So yeah, let us go ahead and get on into the video. This skin map, this is by Stephen R. Lawhead. Guys, I loved this book. I think I gave it like a 4.75. I really didn't like it. It reminded me of the TV show from back in the day. I want to say they also made a movie out of it, quilting-ly. I love this book. Now, if magic is your trigger, you're not going to like this book. It's magic in a sense that you're being transported from one world to the next. That is it. There's no spells, no canters, no black magic, none of that. The magic, it only is you're being transported from one world to the next. If you can handle that, this is your book. This book hit all my expectations. I am so looking forward to reading books 2 through 5 of this series. This book takes place over in London, yet in the 21st century. I am so glad they did identify that. Also, it identified that at this time, or that time, there are parallel worlds always around us. The point where these worlds meet are called lays, and at those lays at particular times, you can be transported from your current world to a whole nother world. Now, will it still be the exact same time? No. So in this story, there's a young man named Kit. Nothing spectacular about him whatsoever. He has a girlfriend named Wilhelmina. Nothing spectacular about her either. One day he's on his way over to her house and run across a couple of transportation issues, decides to walk, and as he's walking, he passes a gentleman, and that gentleman recognizes him, and he's calling to him, and he's like, yeah, I don't know you. And he's telling him how he's telling him how he knows him, and he's like, well, it can't be. That person was his great-grandfather, Cosimo, who was accused of abandoning his family way back in the day. But if that was the case, how was he here now when he should already be, 6 feet under? So he's trying to talk to him, and he's now thinking he's going crazy. There's something wrong with this picture. And he's talking to him, say, just give me a couple of minutes of your time. And he's like, okay, and went to go to this coffee shop with him and found himself in a whole nother world. It was phenomenal. I love how he wrote that part, and he's really thinking he's going crazy now, Kit, I'm talking about. And Cosimo is telling him, look, I need you to come with me, come on this adventure. I'm telling you, oh, it'll be awesome, you will love it. And he was like, because at this point, he is still thinking he's losing it. And he's like, you know what? Nope, I just want to go home. I don't want nothing to do with you and all this, what you're talking about. And he was like, no, I promise you're going to enjoy it. Nope, I want to go home. So he took him back to the point where they, transported from. And he decided to, continue on his path to his girlfriend's house. Well, he's knocking on the door and she answers the door. Honey, she is hot. She is upset. She's going off on him and, snapping on him and stuff like that. And he wasn't understanding what the problem was. He got caught in the rain and all this kind of stuff. So what? He's only a couple minutes late. Come to find out, he was 8 hours late. And he was like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. Wheels got to turning. Oh, so that did happen. Let me tell you what happened. He got to explain it, and she was looking at him like, whatever. And he, calling and just told him, no, you came over here with this cock and baby story and all this kind of mess. I've been sitting here waiting for you. This was my day off, just going off. And he was like, oh, you don't believe me? Get your stuff. Let's go. I'm going to show you. I can show you better than I can tell you. He was hot with her. So he took her to the place where he was transported. Well, nothing was happening. And she was sitting up there looking at him like, And he was like, no, wait a minute. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. A storm is going to come. And she just looking at him like crazy. And like he was crazy. And lo and behold, the storm came. And boom, they were transported. But not to the same place. And not in current time. They both had to figure out how in the world they were going to survive. And how in the world they were going to get back home. But in the meantime, the skin map is all about a guy, his name was Arthur, who learned that he can, had this gift of transporting. And he had created a map on his person, on his chest. He had someone actually put symbols, hieroglyphics, symbols of all the places he traveled and how he got there. That was something that was coveted by many. What book, when you have the good people, you gotta have the bad too, right? The villain, his name is Burley for short. His full name is Burley. And he was a flat out evil man. He didn't care who he had to go through to get what he wanted. I'm telling you guys, the book was so good. There were times I was like, no, he didn't. I was like, oh my God, what is this happening? I enjoyed the book. Now, I wrote down some points, so if you see me looking down, I wanted to make sure I hit everything. I told you guys about the world. I told you about Arthur. He was the one with all the tattoos. And this part of him, the skin map, as you read the book, you will find out how all that is related and how it is coveted. I told you about Cosimo, which was Kit's great-great-grandfather. And I told you about the Burley, the villain, and the plot twist. All this time, I'm thinking that the skin map was the most coveted thing. Then to come to find out that that was just a means to getting to what Burley really wanted. When I tell you guys, it was so good. It was really good. The writing was awesome. I was able to follow Not one point in time in this book I wanted to DNF it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Do I recommend it? Of course. I recommend this book wholeheartedly. This book is Thunder by Bonnie S. Calhoun. This is book number 1 in the Stonebraid Chronicles. I love this book. Just wanted to put that out there first. This book takes place 150 years post-apocalyptic time. And I hope I said that right, but if I didn't, you know what I'm talking about. And her and her family are just trying to survive. What has happened is there are people, the people, the survivors that are there on this island. Now, this island I keep talking about, now this is like taking place over in the Washington, D.C., Virginia, like area in there. So there's an island which there's water around in this area. So they call it an island. So, and what happens is sometimes people come in from the outside, not in their area, and they're coming by boat. But sometimes these people are bound and gagged, and these people carry a mark. One day, Sela was supposed to be out hunting for rabbits. She came across this lander, they're called landers, people from the outside. She came across him on the beach laying face down, and she wanted to impress her father because she wants to be a father's girl. She wants to prove to her father that she can hunt just like her brothers and probably do it even better. But she keeps being told no, that she cannot do it. And her brother, especially her oldest brother, he is a pain in the patuka. He does not like her. He don't care. All because he claims that she made him look foolish one day when he was supposed to babysit. Honey, that's neither here nor there. So, it's the day before her 18th birthday, and she happened to find this lander laying out on the beach, and she was going to capture him. Well, Hunty, her brother, stole him from her and presented him to their father. The lander, his name is Voight, and he's pretty funny. I really like Voight. I love Sela. Well, the next day is her birthday, and she's really excited, but she's still ticked off at her brothers because they stole her catch. And she woke up that day and she was itching. And when she itched and looked at, when you itch, you got to look at it. She looked at it, and all of a sudden she saw that she carried the lander's mark. And she knows that these landers are highly prized. They have bounties on their head. Now, and with these bounties, what they do is they take the ones, if a lander comes into the island and they still have that mark after 24 hours, they are captured and they are enslaved. They're taken to a place called the company, and experiments are done on these people. So I just wanted to give you that backdrop. But to enslave, not to do a work, but to do research. So this book put me... before I say this, let me finish my little spiel about the book. So what happens is Sela is, pretty much cast out from her family. She's really much on the run for her life. Like I said, she woke up with the mark. She now is wanted. So she kidnaps Voight because, one, he has the mark and he can help her explain what's going on. And then she's happened to look for one person, the one person who can really truly help her understand everything. And that's her goal, is to get to that person. So the book talks about their journey getting to the north. Now, this book has been said it is similar to the Hunger Games. At first, I didn't agree with that. At first, I was like, no, this has something to do with, enslavement of people because they are different. And then at the end, or the middle part of the book and closer to the end, I understood why they thought the Hunger Games. But not only did it remind me of that, it also reminded me of Tuskegee Airmen when they were, using black men for medical experiments. It put me in the mind of that. And of course, it put me in the mind of slavery because they were enslaving people that were different from them. Like I said, not to do a work, but to do a research. So, yeah, and I look forward to reading book number 2. It was really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Okay, guys, this is my buddy read for the month of September. This is The Story Raider, and this is book number 2 in Lindsay Franklin's Weaver trilogy. Guys, Nate and I were shook when we read this book. It was so good. It did not disappoint. Now, I can tell you at the beginning of this book, I was like, Lord, please don't let me DNF this book, because my mind wasn't catching what the characters were saying. And then I went ahead unscripted and got the audio book, and I had to read as I listened. And when I did that, things started falling into place. It was really good. I mean, we were like, what's happening next? What's happening next? It was really good. I enjoyed this book. Now, I want to give you a heads up there if you have triggers. One thing that happened in this book, one of the characters did experience some sexual abuse. They did talk about it in the book, but I'm telling you, her storyline was written so beautifully that I'm hoping that more is going to be talked about her in book number 3 to give her, I mean, because they told about the reason she's right now, she's really angry. And I'm hoping to see a healing for her in book number 3. But this book does continue to follow Tanwin, which was in book number 1, her father and the other story weavers as they go and try to find a cure for Raphael. Well, comes to find out, she is not the only one they need. She is not the only one that needs that cure. So yeah, it just talks about their journey and how they have to fight along the way, and they're fighting like evil strands, and the fight scenes in this book were so good. Yeah, this book deals a lot with, in my opinion, having to deal with needing to stay prayed up, needing to stay faithful in your word, staying in, as they call it in the book, the source, staying close to the source. And you guys know who our source is. Our source is God. The importance of staying close to God, because when you don't, or if you don't, those evil strands that were coming out, these are those evil thoughts that come in and attack you, and you know better. You know you're not supposed to do this. You know you're not supposed to do that. And you get these thoughts, well, you just only do it a little bit, or, what is it going to hurt? All that kind of thing. So this book is dealing with those things, that sometimes you're aware of it and sometimes you're not, knowing that those things that's coming against you is for your, to cause you harm. So that is what the book meant to me. Read it. Let me know your thoughts on it. But I highly do recommend it, okay? And again, this book is called The Story Raider, and this is book number 2 in Lindsay A. Franklin's The Weaver trilogy. I just finished reading The End at Hit and Run. It's book number 1 in the Tree of Life series by Olivia Newport. This book was good. I enjoyed it. Let's see. It's about... Let me put a preference to this book. Just know that this is a book, because if you try this in real life, you might get your feelings hurt. Just saying. No, this book is about a young girl whose name is Mary. She happens to be African American. She came into the town called Cannon Mines and started to work at a bread and breakfast. During the course of the interviewer her name is Nia, she found out that she was a double science major, biology and chemistry, and just happened to feel that she had to get down to the reason why Miss Mary has come to her end to work. She has a good friend named Jillian, who is a genealogist, and her father, Nolan, who is an attorney. Mary comes from a long line of doctors. Everyone in her family had to become a doctor. That was not Mary's goals. She had other ambitions that she wanted to feel. She did not like medical school, so she, came out of medical school, and pretty much the rest of the book is about her finding herself and finding her voice. Most of the book kept going back to 1828. What I really liked about Olivia was that it was giving us her family history, and I really, really enjoyed that. Yeah, other than that, it was just about a whole bunch of nosy people butting in somebody's business. And the story was written beautifully. I'm just saying, don't try that in real life. I don't care what race you are, don't try that in real life. If somebody don't want to be found, leave them alone. If someone want to go and escape their life, let them be. Don't be nosy. But it was really good. I did enjoy it. I do look forward to reading book number 2 and the rest of this series. I am just hoping that they continue with the characters. If they don't continue with the characters, because I feel like they kind of wrapped it up. She wrapped it up at the end of the book. If they don't continue with at least some of the characters, I don't know if I'll be interested in completing the series, but we'll see. I'll read the back of books 2. I think it's 4 books altogether, 2 through 4, and see if any of these characters are in the book. So yeah, that was the end at Hit and Run. Like I said, I really did like it. I just thought it was kind of comical about people just being in folks' business. Yeah. On to the next book. Hey guys, this book is called DawnSinger, and it's by Janalyn Voight, and this is book number 1 in the Tales of Faravin series. This book was okay. Only reason why I say it's okay because it hit up against one of my triggers. This book is about a young girl named Shay whose life was flipped upside down when she discovered that she's been living a lie all this time. Kai is her brother and also the protector of the queen. The queen is dying. Shay is given a mission. Actually, she's given like 2 missions. The first mission is to sing the death song for the queen at her time of passing. Well, that's a problem because that job goes to the first musician, and she says this to Shay in front of the first musician. Well, he wasn't happy. The other mission that Shay had to do was to go and fulfill the prophecy to bring forth the Dawn King. Well, Queen dies, and Shay is forced to reckon with herself if she's going to go ahead and do what the Queen have asked of her. Well, and because that meant her life is going to be put in jeopardy again and again and again and again. And I really thoroughly enjoyed the ups and downs of the battles that they had to fight and all that kind of stuff. That part got me. My trigger is, I'm just going to put it like this because I don't want to spoil it, because some of you might be looking for a good Christian fantasy book, and this is one. It just hit against one of my biggest trigger. Family is family to me, regardless of if it's by blood or not. If I call you my sister, I'm going to treat you as such, period. So, and if you need more comments and stuff about that, you need me to elaborate a little bit more, I'll privately DM you, the details if you need me to, because like I said, it's a trigger for me. It might not be one for you. It reminds me of the book Hester that I unhauled off my shelf. It puts me in the line of that. But yeah, other than that, like I said, I enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed the battles. I enjoyed the plot and the plot twist, and you know, the guys and their feelings and all that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed that part. Now, as you know that this is a series, am I going to complete this series? Because how she left book 1, Lord have mercy. I am really, really, really interested in reading book 2. And if it stays how book 1 ended, I will continue the series. So we will see. I'm not sure where, if I'm going to, I know I'm going to read the first couple of chapters in book number 2, or I can ask my girl Nick if book number 1 held, the ending of book number 1 held true. If it held true, then I would definitely be reading the rest of the series. So on to the next book. Hey guys, I want to tell you about a book that I had to DNF and a book that I actually finished reading. The one that I DNF'd, unfortunately, was The Accounts of Benny's Diner. It is a collective book of short stories. Maybe it's that I'm not a short story person because I like to know a lot about the characters. And in short stories, you really don't have that luxury of telling much about the characters. I did read about like 5 of the short stories and I just couldn't follow. Now, one of the short stories I really did like. I thought it was really, really cute. All of the stories were about end times, and I'm just not there yet. And I'm not going to say it was the writing per se. It's just that I couldn't follow. So, yeah, unfortunately, I had to DNF that book. However, I might pick it up somewhere down the line since I do have it on my Kindle. And I might, pick up and read a story every blue moon or whatever. I also want to tell you about a book that I wasn't ready for. And the book is Noah, Man of Destiny, and it is by Tim Chaffey and K. Marie Adams, and this is book number 1 in the Remnant trilogy. I'm just going to tell you right up front, I need book 2 and 3 to hurry up and get to my house. This book is, of course, about Noah. But how they set it up, the authors I'm talking about, is this book is prior to being called by God to build the boat. So this book is just building up the characters, building up Noah, building up the people in his life, his family and all that. So I really, really enjoyed this book and getting to know these characters. Noah, it's funny because I think their age of consent was like 35, 40 years old. And then like later on after that, how they were marrying kids off at 11 and 12, they were considered a man and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of funny to see that, that downhill spiral of that. But in this book, at that time, people were living to be like 800 years old. So it was really, really good. And it tells of Noah as a young man, his faith, his family, is a guy that he befriends called Eteri. I believe I'm pronouncing his name right. Loved his character, and they go on an adventure. Noah comes from a family of farmers, and of course he didn't want to farm. That just wasn't his thing. That wasn't his zhush, and he told his father, that I want to do woodwork. I want to be a carpenter. But he didn't want to do small things. He wanted to do things on larger scales. And his father happened to know a distant cousin, who did those kind of things, and gave his blessing to Noah on 2 conditions. One is that he always will follow the Creator, which is God, and that he take his friend Eteri along with him. So they went on the journey of going to this distant relative's home. His name is Ira. He was so cool. I really did like him. And he just happened to be a ship maker. And of course, I know in the second book how this is all going to evolve. And I'm just looking forward to it. I'm going to tell you, this book was so good. And it was this one character. Her name is Naima. Let me say, if you need to read a book with a petty girl, a scorned woman, a trifling woman, just a nasty woman. I can't believe I said that. But you know what I'm talking about. You need to read this book, because honey, this girl was a hot mess. That is the book, or have a character when you just want to come through the pages and wring her neck. I was writing in this book. It was so funny. It's funny because I was like, Lord help her. Lord help her. And I'm like, do anybody else be praying for these characters in your books? I mean, I be straight up praying for these people and knowing good well it's not real. So, but yeah, this book had me into a lot of emotions. Feels beautiful. Spoiler, just a little bit of a spoiler. The wedding ceremony is a wedding ceremony in this book. I love that they wrote the ceremony out. It was so beautiful. I was like, just saying. Yeah. And in fact, I know Kim Cash Tate did that in one of her books too. I think it was in one of her novellas. It was so beautiful. But anyway, yeah, I love this book. Looking forward to reading book 2 and 3. And that is it for the month of September reads. I cannot believe I finished all these books in this month. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video for today. I certainly did. Go ahead and let me know if you like this format when I'm putting all of my books in one video that I read for the month, or would you care for me to continue to put them in my monthly wrap up? Go ahead and like and share this video. Please follow me over on Goodreads and Instagram, both of the handle Quilting Beauty and Books. Over on Goodreads is where you will find all the reviews for the books that I just mentioned in this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. What are you waiting on? And while you at it, click that bell so you'll be notified of my next upload. Guys, until the next video, be blessed. Bye.